But yeah, Jay, what were your thoughts on the 6 Diva Tag Team match last night in addition to the Miz TV segment?
The segment was a bit awkward, same with the tag match, awkward. But the whole point, and let's not get it twisted, the entire point of the entire thing was to further get Paige over with this heel turn. That was the point. It all built up to her pulling Natty off the apron to, I guess, set up another singles match or whatever the case may be. But to the Divas Revolution thing that's going on right now, the first revolution that I ever experienced in pro wrestling was the ECW revolution when I was a teenager, when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. A revolution is not built in a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. It sometimes takes years to really build a revolution. And that's what ECW did in the 90s. We're still feeling the effects of that today. Finn Balor mentioned last night on the NXT special, the panel, that NXT stars will be remembered someday the way ECW stars are remembered today. When you're building a revolution, it takes a long time. So I think when they keyed in this revolution, they had a long-term plan for it. I don't think they expected it to fall flat and for fans to really turn on it, especially the IWC complainers as of late. I really think it's going to take a while to flourish. The reason Sasha Banks hasn't been involved is because she's gearing up for this match with Bayley on NXT, and I think that's the reason. They don't want to push her in any other way. They don't want to get her injured before that match. They want to make sure she's fresh for it because it is going to be a history-making match. So I think the sky is really the limit, and the future of the Revolution, it really is to come. It hasn't even scratched the surface yet, and I have a feeling that as time goes on, as it continues to move, as it continues to gain momentum, we'll really see what it's made of. And I think it'll probably culminate with a Divas Championship match at WrestleMania, and that's where Revolution will really start to move forward in a more positive direction.
I think you hit the nail right in the head when you talked about how, like, the Revolution is something that's organic, and that's something with the women. I mean, it's been the issue since day one with how they've booked this Revolution. They shove the Revolution, that whole term, just down people's throats on Twitter, on commentary, over and over and over, to the point where wrestling fans, just people in general, if you shove something down their throat, they're going to resent it after a while. The whole Divas Revolution has not been a revolution because they're more concerned with pushing the term revolution than they are with focusing on the women, developing their characters, giving them more time for matches. They have done, and I commend them for that. Their matches have been better. It's just that, like, when Paige said that Becky Lynch was the least relevant of all of them, she wasn't wrong, and it's not her fault. It's because of creative, and we know nothing about Becky Lynch. You go back to the NXT TakeOver special back in May. You know, one of your favorite matches, RJ, that I know you praised. Going into that match, that whole video package, the one with Banks and
Becky Lynch.
Well, Banks and Bayley was amazing, that video package. But Banks and Becky Lynch, they did the video package talking. I think on an episode of NXT they talked about it. On the episode of NXT before that, Becky Lynch, they showed her background in Ireland, how she got to WWE. They made you care about her. You know what I mean? They made you want to see you win that belt. I remember you texting me after the show. You're like, damn, like, I love Sasha Banks, but I wanted to see Becky Lynch win. You know? And Becky Lynch was a nobody before that. She was a loser. She was a loser because she was losing all the time. But they built her up in the course of a couple months. And with the Divas now, like, Charlotte as champion, great. Good wrestler, know nothing about her. Like, if you've never seen an episode of NXT, which I'm sure is not the case with most people nowadays with the network and stuff, but there is that, you know, casual audience, like a Cam or something like that, or my roommate Connor, like something like that won't watch NXT. They have no idea, like, who any of these people are, for the most part. So they won't care. Like, why would any of your friends care about Charlotte? Other than she says, let's do it with flair. You know, like, that's just going to make you sick. You know what I mean? It just, it says it on her t-shirts, so let's use that as her catchphrase. That's not how it works. I don't think I've ever heard her say that once in NXT. That's how bad it is. You know, the whole let's do it with flair crap. But, yeah, it just takes time. I think, like Jay said, I think it takes time to kind of build a revolution. And you make a great point about Sasha, and that match is next Wednesday. I completely forgot about that. TakeOver is next Wednesday. It's going to be great. So I'm hoping that after that show next Wednesday, they really go full throttle with Sasha Banks and they start pushing her the way that she deserves to be pushed. And someone asked...
Oh, dude.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's the thing, brother, is Charlotte is now the Divas champion, and I think she'll defend it through Paige, through Nikki Bella, but I really believe that the money is giving the Raw audience that Charlotte versus Sasha as your first major match to really build this thing up.
I agree, and I feel like if they hold that, if they save that for WrestleMania, I mean, I hate to use the term money match because I don't know how much money is in the women, unfortunately, but I feel like it is a money match. If there's any two women that can be the cornerstones of that division, it's Sasha and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks and Charlotte is what I'm trying to say. That match at WrestleMania, you can make money off that, I feel like. We haven't had a meaningful WrestleMania women's match since probably Mickie James and Trish. And that match wasn't, I mean, it was a very good match, but I think it was only as good as it was because they had a story. Like, when was the last time before that or after that we had a story match at WrestleMania, that we had a women's match at WrestleMania that had a story to it?
Should you do the 4 horsewomen at WrestleMania, or is that...
No, I agree, but I don't know if Bayley's going to be up by then. She could be. But to do a fatal 4-way, do the match from TakeOver this past year, I would love to see it. But you can also do Banks and Sasha one-on-one, and I wouldn't complain.
You mean Banks and Charlotte?
What did I say?
Banks and Sasha.
Banks and Sasha. Sasha and Sasha? Would love to see it. Let's do it. Sasha and Sasha, WrestleMania. Hashtag book it. Hashtag bank on it. How about that? But yeah, I could see that match at WrestleMania. What was I trying to say? But no, yeah, that match, Sasha and Charlotte at WrestleMania, I don't see any reason
Sasha in chase mode the whole time, and everyone wants to see her win. But eventually wins.
And in the meantime, she feuds with somebody else. She feuds with Becky Lynch or Bellas. Exactly, yeah. And she plows through them. She gets her title shot at WrestleMania. That's how you build a story. Like, they never have any long-term plans for the women. That's what sucks about this company. But I just feel like if they just keep on building her up over time, like, that's a match that you can main event Raw with at some point. If there's any one women's match they can close out Raw with, it would be Sasha and Charlotte. But it's about giving these people a reason to care about them and making them want to see Sasha win the belt by giving her TV time and what else in the months to come. And WrestleMania is a while away, so we got some time before Mania. But I feel like that's the best way. That's their course of action they should take, is by building up Sasha as a threat to that belt and put her in chase mode, keep Charlotte as a strong champion for the months to come, and then do that match at WrestleMania.